Seems like it's been a while since we did one of these. Probably because it has been a while. It's been crazy times here. But they're calming down again. So let's see if we can't get back onto the random review spree and look at one of the more current figures that are out there right now. This is Titan's Return Hot Rod. And we get to call him Hot Rod again, not Rodimus, which only makes sense if you know who Rodimus Prime is. And then it doesn't make sense because he needs to be Hot Rod before he's Rodimus. Either way, I'm happy the name is back. And I'm happy the vehicle mode is back. Look at how nice this is. This is definitely straight up DG1, kind of, very futuristic hot rod style car that he was originally designed to be. Not the modern take that they went for with classics or anything. This is just straight up classic looking. Now, they did abbreviate and kind of abridge a few details for the modern release. You'll notice the engine doesn't stick up as far. The windshield is not all-encompassing to the top of the vehicle, and the spoiler is a much more realistic shape and not something that's just like this huge fin sticking off the back. It's most likely not street legal. But all the necessary details are there. The angled headlights, this very nice line all the way across from the top of the hood and then across the sides, getting that curve the way the original toy had it. And then, of course, the classic exhaust pipes going all the way to the back. We even have a little bit more going on in the form of thrusters and more exhaust, because he's a fast guy. He builds up a lot of heat, as you can tell by the fact that he has flames painted around his engine. Now, it's always a little bit strange when they do this. I always feel like the orange needs to be a little bit deeper shade of color, just so that it contrasts better with the yellow of the flame. It's not terrible here. I've seen a lot worse. I have a lot worse next to me right now, actually. But I do think it could have been a little bit stronger. It's better in the light here. When it's in normal room lighting, it's not quite as stark. But yeah, the vehicle mode itself is quite nice. Not a whole lot of paint going on, but you get a few little dabs here and there. And the engine's silver, of course, a little bit of orange around here. And the translucent blue is painted over with the red, and the red matches exceptionally well to the plastic. Good on you, Hasbro. Also, the spoiler is completely painted in yellow. Not entirely sure why. This seems like something that would have been easier to mold, but hey, maybe molding a new part just for one color is more expensive than just painting it. I don't know. I don't do budget. So, what else can we do here? Well, we do have the weapon, of course, which plugs into the engine, which is classic if you had the Target Master version of the original Hot Rod. It's this nice double-barreled cannon that a Titan Master can ride in. So, again, we get that playability going on. Speaking of, that playability also extends to the back, where we have tabs that can actually peg into the feet of the Titan Masters so they can ride on top. I'm really happy that Wave 3 Deluxes remembered those were a thing, because Wave 2 completely omitted them. I'm not entirely sure this placement of the cannon is appropriate, because at this point you are blocking the driver completely. He cannot see where he is going at all. But, hey, that's where it went in G1, so that's where it goes now. Speaking of driver, let's actually open this up, and we'll meet Fire Drive, the new Titan Master Headmaster partner of Hot Rod. And he is boring. Oh my god, is he boring. And the detailing isn't too bad. I mean, I do get a little bit of design to him. But man, a little bit of paint, the eyes, the chest, something, anything. Jeez, it's just a barren gray robot. I mean, at this rate, you might as well have just painted, at this rate, the whole body might as well just have been molded in red so his head looks solid when he transforms. This is blech. And he has a standard articulation that I have to demonstrate, even though it's the same every single time. Ball joints in the arms that only go up and down, ball joint in the neck, hips that are one big hinge, so that's how your knees and hips go. And moving on, let's get back to the actual toy. So that all said, time to get this guy transformed. Now, this one, pretty simple. You're not going to have a whole lot of difficult time transforming your brand new Titans Return Hot Rod. He is not the most complex of Transformers. So, yep, arms come out, legs flip up, feet flip out, and then we'll take all this kibble and go to the back. At the rear, I'm going to hold all this up so we can rotate the waist around. All this rotates, and that folds up like so. Over to the front. Front end flips down, and then we flip the whole thing down and peg it in, like so. Fists flip out from the sides. Of course they do. And that's pretty much it. We're already set to head on here. And for that, we'll take the Titan Master, flip him around, sock it into the head like so. Come on. Ah. Sometimes these stick, sometimes they don't. There, it sticks. And just like that, we have Hot Rod in his brand new robot mode, looking very much the G1 Hot Rod. Definitely some different proportions going on than, say, the Classics version. But for the most part, we have all the details we need. He's looking very much like the Autobot Chosen One that you all know and love. So, well, some of you love. If you love Optimus Prime, you probably don't love this guy as much. He got his leader killed. Let's move on to the actual head now that it is in the shape of a head. Very much classic to the standard Hot Rod design. There are certain elements they tend to do with Hot Rods, and I apologize for shaky because I'm trying to get, there we go. Get some of that contrast out so you can actually see the molding on the head. Familiar details are molded in, but they've also resisted the urge to do things like, paint his eyebrows or paint that crest around his head yellow like it's his spoiler or something. A lot of Hot Rods tend to do that. They left it alone this time, going for a little bit more G1 accuracy. I appreciate that because I'm sick and tired of the toys that do that. But not a bad head design. I'm happy. Looking him over, he's definitely got all the colors where they need to be. Grays where I want them, oranges and such. One of the things that he does have going is some definitely different proportions. His arms are very heavy compared to how Hot Rods typically look, and his shoulders very, very tall. And tall shoulders are the name of the game for Hot Rod, but not quite to this extent. Taking a look at with the Classics, you can see, despite being a little bit cheaper made, because, hey, budget sucks these days, he does maintain a decent size, bigger than the Classics one at the very least. It definitely has a more powerful look to him with the heavier arms. So, maybe it's not all bad. I will tell you one thing the Classics toy does that the new one does not do so well. I can actually see the spoiler on him. One thing that bugs me a lot on this one is that the spoiler is very unpronounced. It's probably because the shoulders are so bulky, and this went for a more, more contemporary style to the spoiler. But man, that's part of Hot Rod's silhouette. The same way you see Starscream's wings out to the side, I expect to see his spoiler sticking up from his back. And I don't really get that from him, which is a bit of a letdown. It's unfortunate. But I guess it might be a minor quibble. But still, it's an important one to me. Like I say in these reviews a lot, I never know what your pet peeve is going to be. If it's a Hot Rod that you can actually see the spoiler on, or a Hot Rod that you can't see the spoiler on in this case, that could be a pet peeve and a deal breaker. I don't know. I have to point it out. It's annoying to me, though. So looking at the paint on here, we got all the paint that he needs in the right spots. So a little bit of the gray here. Still carrying over the engine details from the vehicle mode. Some paint around the midsection. That same red that's on the cockpit, or windshield rather. All that working really well. A little bit of silver down the front. A little bit of a match to his sticker details. A little bit of gray here and there. Hot Rod always was weird about where he had all his gray parts. But that's pretty much how it goes. And fairly clean, too. That's one thing he does have over the Classics version, which is a pretty massive backpack for all things. Hot Rod tucks up a little bit better. And a little bit higher up on him, too. So he does keep things out of the way. And it's probably one of the few Hot Rod toys that tries really hard to get the spoiler flush to the back rather than just sticking straight out from the backpack or something. I do like how some things do tuck away, like, folding up the sides of the car for the back of the leg. I wish it pegged in. It's just kind of friction there on a hinge. And beyond that, everything's pretty much where I wanted to be. So, articulation-wise, ball joint in the neck, because that's how all of these work. I will say my head is not terribly loose. I don't get like a rattle if I shake them, but I've seen people who have had very, very loose heads on this guy, so that's unfortunate. Ball joints in the shoulders work really well, and you get a hinge at the torso in case you need it. Swivel at the elbow, as well as a 90-degree bend. Nothing at the wrist, but we do get a waist joint, which is always appreciated. Ball joints in the hips. I wish mine were a little bit tighter, and that does seem to be more universal. That still works, though. Has great range. Thigh swivel, always nice. 90-degree knee. The feet, naturally angled, but no actual rocking. Even back and forth does not really do a whole lot for you. So the articulation, not bad. He can get into the poses I would expect from a young, daring Autobot warrior such as he. So what about weaponry? Well, we do have this big double-barreled thing. Now, he does have peg holes on the sides of his arms, so he could have held it in vehicle mode in certain positions, not all. But you can also mount him on his arms now if you want to. Or we can split this open and give him his double barrel, or his double guns that he usually had with the original G1 toy. Something about dual pistols with fiery characters like Hot Rod that just kind of works, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's a Japanese trope of some kind, because I seem to see it a lot. But it works for him. I like the look, and I like the firepower, no pun intended there. So that is pretty much what you get with your Titan's Return Hot Rod. It's a very simplistic transformation, which might be the stickler for some people. It's very typical, but there's also something to be said for elegance in transformation as well, because the vehicle mode looks really, really good for Hot Rod, and the robot mode does a fair job. I could stand to have some of the proportions tweaked a little bit and that spoiler more visible, but it's hard to argue when both modes look really good that, well, the transformation needed more bells and whistles. When you get too many bells and whistles, you just get noise, and noise is not good. This is a simple melody, and I think it works best that way. All in all, very, very nice figure. Still not the IDW figure everybody's aiming for, but hey, baby steps.